Come on in, welcome to my home. Today we are talking about routines and automations that make my life easier. But before we get into that, I also have to tell you what I consider an automation versus a routine. An automation to me, by my definition, is something that I don't have to do anything to. And I've talked about this like in the last video when we were talking about my plants. My plants have automated lights. The automated lights come on at a certain time and go off at a certain time. I set all that up, so yeah, I know what time they're going to come on and come off, but I do not have to do anything unless the power goes out, and then the ones that have their own button have to be reset, but that's a whole nother issue. So, I have lots of automations going on here, and some things which are automations I don't think you would really even think of. Like, I consider my yard light an automation. I don't have to do anything to that. The light sensor turns it on, turns it off. The plants, I said, I have the plant lights in the bathroom that I actually also use, or can be used as night lights, because they come on at a certain time, go off at a certain time. I consider my heating automated because it's set to come on at a certain level, goes off at a certain level. I do nothing with it. Now, can I affect that? Yes, I can. I can affect when it comes on, I can affect when it goes off, that sort of thing. But a routine is something that I or somebody else has to interact with something to make that routine happen. These lights I consider a routine because imagine had I had to turn on each individual light, and I think there's something like 13 different lights, 1, 2, 3, it doesn't matter. There are a lot of different lights that I would have to turn on and off. While that wouldn't be a big factor because most of my lights are smart lights and I can control them with my phone, that does mean I still have to turn them on and off. Whereas with one press of a button, I can turn, let's see if I can get this back up, I can turn my living room studio off, and all those lights go off, or I can turn my living room studio back on. And that makes life so much easier. And I've found that there are so many different routines that I have. There's a routine that I have which I called my dog light. Now, this basically plays out when it gets dark earlier or that kind of time, where I can turn on some lights, and it'll turn on this light and a few night lights. You'll see it in the B-roll. This makes it like a lot easier for us to deal with things. So when she comes over, there's light. I'm not in total darkness. Cool. One of the other automations that I'm absolutely loving is my mini blinds back in my office. Those are automated. They have a solar panel. They, when at a certain time, they will open, and at a certain time, they will close. Why is that really cool? Well, let's say I'm not home. My house will automatically do certain things and sort of make people think that I am home. So it's really hard to tell unless you really know if I'm home or not. And even if you really do know, it is still sort of hard to tell if I'm home or not. Other routines that I am absolutely loving, most of them take place in the evening. One of the best routines I ever thought of was the routine where I can switch my lights from the dog light to what I call computer time. Computer time just has lights there, so they're like night lights kind of situation where the rooms are dimly lit. I can go back and forth from different rooms. I can work on the computer in the evening, and it just gives me enough light so I don't have to turn off and on lights because most of my lights are really bright. I will admit that most of my lights are really bright, but I can turn them on, turn them off, that sort of thing. So I trigger when that computer time routine happens. I trigger when the dog light routine happens. So that way I can then set this up so that, hey, if it's, well, like right now, it doesn't get dark till almost 8:30 now. So I don't have to turn on the dog light at a certain time. If it's a sunny day or a cloudy day, that makes a whole lot of difference. So like I said, the routines are something that I can trigger. The other one of my favorite routines is what I call my sleep routine. You're like, well, what exactly does that mean? So we've already covered the computer time routine. Cool. The sleep routine then turns on the light next to my bedstand. next to my bedstand on my nightstand. And then it will, after 10 minutes, turn off all the other lights that I have on, which were the night light kind of thing, the computer lights. Those will turn on after 10 minutes, so that way I can go from my computer to my bedroom, have absolute great light, and then it turns off, which is wonderful. Another routine that I absolutely love, this routine, is my my nightstand light. It can go from it goes from an amber looking thing, like a sunset kind of look, to it will fade out. I have mine set for 15 minutes. So after 15 minutes, it fades out. And you're like, well, what difference does that make? It means that I can fall asleep with some light still on. And by the time I'm asleep, the lights are off. That makes it for such a nice, gentle routine. Now, I had thought about putting in that routine where it would automatically kick up these sleep meditations, but I've also found that I like to rotate through them or find new ones. So I decided, nah, we won't put that in there, because that way I can change it out as I want or as I see fit. And those are really cool things. But there are routines that do not involve any technology. Well, mostly no technology. One of the things I consider my routine is a routine for vacuuming. So I I vacuum one room a day, Monday through Friday. So this morning I did my bedroom. Tomorrow I'll do the living room. Wednesday I'll do the office. Then that will go back to Thursday bedroom. Was that right? Thursday bedroom. Yeah, and then Friday is this living room. That's a routine. I move furniture out of the way. I make sure that it can do things. If I had a smart vacuum, it would be able to do that by itself. It would be able to avoid furniture, but I have a dumb vacuum, so it just runs into things. But yeah, if I had a smart vacuum, I wouldn't even have to move things out. Another routine that I have is when I clean. I clean on Mondays. Every Monday I clean one room. Or one area. So this Monday it was my bedroom. Last Monday I think it was all the wet rooms. Next week it will be my office, and then of course the living room. So that way something gets cleaned. It's a routine that makes life a whole lot easier. Another routine that I do which makes life a whole lot easier, and I've talked a lot about some of these things, is I will clean one shelf or one drawer a day. So that way, I never have that thing where it's just like, oh gosh, I've got to clean out all of this thing for, so that I can make my life a little bit easier. No, if you clean one drawer or one shelf a day, while it might not get everything done, it's a great routine to fall into, because then it does get done. You eventually, over the year, you will put eyes on everything, and you will see what works, what isn't working, what you need to get rid of, that sort of thing. And you're only doing a tiny little section, so it's a good routine to have. I do have my morning routines with the whole, I'll get up and do some exercises and do meditation and that sort of thing. But those are routines that I have down pat. And I've found that all of these routines make my life a lot easier. And also, I'm not the person who is constantly asking, well, what day is it? Because I know what day it is because of my routines. Now, the other part about this is on my calendar, I also have those routines set up so that way I can check them off and make sure that I actually did take my pills for the evening, that sort of thing. And that has become really important. Plus, I put in visual cues for my routine, especially with my pills. I'll put the pill container out on the counter after I've taken the pills, because I take mine at night. I'll put it out on the counter, and that will say, hey, you've taken your pills, you've done that routine, life is good. Are there other things that I could get more into a routine of? Yeah, like cleaning off my porch. Yeah, that would be a good routine. Even doing your laundry on a certain day or at a certain time, that is a routine. These routines, while some people think they're boring and they're hard to deal with, I find them wonderful. They give me that sense of, here is a regiment, here's a thing that you have set, you know what's going to happen. And that is really, really nice. and it gives me something to look forward to. I also have my routine set up so that on the weekend is mine. Because one of the big things I used to do, we used to order groceries on Friday, I'd pick them up on Saturday morning, and then I found, well, wait, no, I want to do these things during the work week. So that's what I do. And by having these routines, by scheduling them, by putting them in places where I can check them off, that sort of thing, I know if they get done or don't get done. And the bigger part about that is, let's say that today I didn't have a chance to clean my bedroom. Okay, so then I could just do that tomorrow. I could bump that routine off to the next day. And it is fine because on my calendar, then I don't have to check it and it will say, hey, you have a pending task that you have to do. And it's good. It keeps my life scheduled. It keeps me going forward because I know what needs to be done, when, and how. So like I said, automations happen automatically. I have very, very, very little to do with automations. I might schedule it once, but that's it. Routines I either have to do completely myself or they are triggered by myself or someone else who does this thing. Sometimes it's just as simple as pressing a button and it can schedule a whole lot of different actions to happen. If you want me to talk more about the smart home and the home automation ideas behind it, because there are lots and lots and lots of them, I can do that. But getting your life into some sort of automated routine kind of establishment can make your life so much easier. It can make things so much better. And you can relax. And I think that's part of the reason why I don't lay in bed at night thinking about, well, I've got to do this, this, and this tomorrow. I've got to. No, it's all in my calendar, all in my routines. I know what's going to happen, and that is a nice thing. And then on weekends, I have no idea what's going to happen, and it's fun and relaxing, and I enjoy it. So yeah, that's good. I hope you enjoyed this. I'd love to hear what routines you have. What automations do you have? What things do you do that make your life simpler? Or what things would you like to do that would make your life simpler and you're not sure how to implement them? Let me know down in the comments. At this time, if you've made it this far, hey, go ahead and click like, and you could also consider subscribing to this channel. It really helps this channel. These people are these wonderful people who are part of my Patreon and channel members. They really help keep this channel going. We also have discussions about things, and they get a behind-the-scenes weekly vlog where I share the things that I wouldn't normally share with the whole world. But with this group of people, I share what's going on in my life and that sort of thing. You become part of the channel members too, and get these every 2-week videos early. And we also can talk about what videos should be made coming up. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope I get to see you again the next time you stop by.